my God, it's been a while since I've cleaned that lens, apparently. All right, today we're talking about the mirrorless camera industry, the trends that I think, what's happening, what I think you need to be afraid of, what I think you need to know about as somebody that's been using mirrorless cameras for, as long as they've existed. And I've been, in the media industry, running a media company for 10 years or so, shot thousands and thousands of real estate videos. And today I'm going to talk about some of my speculation about what I think you need to know. And just generally the trends that I'm kind of seeing, because I don't really see a lot of people talking about this stuff specifically. But hey creators, Aimon here. This is where I help creators go full time and talk about all the stuff that I've just mentioned. And so mirrorless cameras, it's interesting the trends that we're kind of seeing right now, because I think releases are slowing down quite a bit. And as a consumer of mirrorless cameras, especially, you watch all the YouTubers, they get the mirrorless cameras as they come out and that kind of thing. And obviously all the different camera companies are just keeping a keen eye on each other and seeing what each other, because they've all got all the features, right? And they've all had them for many years, and they just slowly leak out the features so that they can maximize money from us, right? And us being silly consumers just lap it up on YouTube and watch all the YouTube creators when they pop out with new content of new cameras, and we're like, oh my God, this, oh my God, that, when's this feature coming out? When's that feature coming out? And it kind of sucks being a consumer of cameras, because it's like, we know Sony and all of the camera companies, we know you've got all the tech from, 5 years into the future or whatever it is. You can put it all into a tiny body, but you choose not to, right? And I don't care what it costs. If you can put like raw, it doesn't need to be 12-bit, but like raw footage and, uncapped recording limit into like an internal hard drive on my Sony mirrorless camera, small form, like, why aren't you doing it? And obviously Panasonic and whoever else, they started to drop RAW, and rumor has it that B-RAW is now coming to Sony cameras, which is cool, but that's still external, And but what I see Sony focusing on, especially, I'm a Sony guy, so I mainly focus on Sony stuff, but they're just like a lot of consumer cameras. They're really focused on that, the small end of the, not small end, but the newer camera users, and they're just focusing on releasing a bunch of cameras on that lower end of the market. And they obviously dropped the Burano recently. Is that what it's called? But there's nothing really about that camera that would make a lot of people go, oh my God, I need that camera. It's like a A7S III or an FX3 in a bigger body, and it's like the innovation is slowing down a lot. You can see it, because obviously over the last 10 years, there's been a lot of new tech to come out. It's been whoever could bring that to the market first, and then whoever could improve on that. Obviously, different cameras have different, better features. Sony's autofocus has always been amazing. Panasonic stabilization has always been amazing. Obviously, that's not full frame. We're on the peppermint tea today, fam. Got my spotty like mum cup, But it's really annoying to see that. I knew this in 2017 even. I was like, look, you guys have the features from 5 years into the future from now, right? So why aren't you giving it to us? It's because you're just slowly leaking it out to us. And now we're at a point where I think, we don't need more than 10-bit colors. Nobody really ever needs that unless you're shooting some crazy like cinema stuff. And even then, the difference between 10-bit and 12-bit, it's so enormous that you just don't need it, right? It's unnecessary for the most part. And so the next big step is just RAW and refining that RAW element of cameras, and, having extra little things like an internal SSD. Like, how amazing would that be? Instead of got to go out and buy like these 128 gig memory cards from Sony that are 500 Australian dollars. Like, it's so insulting. I mean, everything's relative, it's pretty expensive, to be honest. But I'm happy to invest in really good gear. But it's like, especially if the camera companies, if I feel like they care about me as a consumer. And there's obviously been a lot of protests, specifically in the Sony space, to give us firmware updates and give us the things that you can just give us as downloads and firmware updates. And it's taken, 4 or 5 years for, I don't even know how long the A7S III has been out now. It's got to be 4 years now. And they've finally given us a firmware update, right? haven't even downloaded it because I'm like, it's like I would have to revamp all my settings and that would take me hours. And so there's nothing in there where I'm like, oh my God, I need that feature. And, everyone's all so hyped on like, what is it, shutter angle? But I'm like, what, like, really, is that actually important? Or do you just want to feel like you're using a cinema camera? It's not actually that important. It's essentially the same thing. We don't really have much rolling shutter as it is. So I don't know why people are so hyped on that feature when I'm just like, give me something good, like give me internal RAW. I know that you can just unlock that in the camera. So, but no, you make me pay for that feature. And hey, even if I had to pay for that feature to download it, to put it on my A7S III, I would, okay? Because I knew what I was buying when I bought the camera. But yeah, FX3's dropped, like FX6 as well. It's just a like bigger A7S III with more buttons. And this is what a lot of camera companies are doing. They just have so many variations of the same camera with different buttons and different look. And as you can clearly see, like in the media company that I run, we've got 3 A7S IIIs, right? Between us, we've got 4. And all Sony lenses, and there's just no reason to upgrade. It's actually better than the FX3, and I don't argue with me in the comments if you want, fam. But in terms of hybrid cameras, like if you're going to be taking some photos, A7S III is it, my guy. Again, I'm not super clued in on all the other camera companies. Obviously, other people are dropping some RAW cameras and stuff internally and 12-bit and blah blah, and Panasonic's got like 6K and. Yeah, obviously 8K would be nice, whatever. But again, it's not crazy necessary. The 4K out of the A7S III is still insane. All that I need really is just more data to play with for the color grade, And that's what's really capped for me. So yeah, 6K, 8K, it'd be exciting. It'd be fun. But the file sizes of that, if you also give us higher bitrate, it would just be enormous and unnecessary. So obviously predominantly I actually shoot on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro. So I use A7S III for a lot of things like marketing content and stuff where it makes sense to have like autofocus and auto white balance and all that sort of stuff. But if I'm talking quality wise, I'm a quality guy, fam, like I want that raw. I want more data to play with in post-production. Want something smooth to edit on, which is obviously not ProRes because your boy uses DaVinci, because what else would you use? If you're still on Premiere, I'll fight you. Let's go. No, I'm totally joking, but you probably should change to DaVinci. But it feels like they're working against us as camera consumers, and that really sucks. Because I obviously, and you most likely as well, have been a dedicated camera enthusiast and dedicated to the brands. We are very loyal customers. And it just feels like they don't care about that at all, right? And all they care about is obviously their profit margin. And that's how companies work. I'm not complaining about that. That makes sense. But it would be cool if obviously they had something coming that was really going to blow everybody out of the water, and that's kind of what I'm waiting on, because I would like a camera with autofocus that does everything, and I don't care about how big the file sizes are, but instead I'm using a manual cinema camera, like an old dog, but it's just definitely feel a little bit gypped by all of the camera companies at the moment. And I know that Sony, they have this game where they just kind of wait to see what all the big dogs do, and then they drop something that blows it out of the water. But the releases between good cameras that are actually exciting are few and far between. And I think that's the same with a lot of other camera companies as well. And we're even seeing that in the YouTubers that review these cameras. They're getting sick and tired of it. Their reviews, their enthusiasm about the reviews, it's actually getting to a point where it's laughable. Like that you can see how they almost feel cringe on their reviews and stuff when they're like, oh, we got this new bottom end of the market camera, which I can't even really differentiate between the last 3 releases. Like, why am I reviewing this camera, So yeah, give us something good. But I think that the reason they don't want to do that is because it's like, where do they go from there? Because once we have 8K RAW internal, something like that, what more could they give us, really? It's just little hypey features, bit of candy. But other than that, it's 12-bit, but who wants that? Who needs that? Nobody, you know? So we're kind of near the end of the tether, really. And I mean, we have been for a few years, honestly. A lot of the time, you know, obviously what was that movie that was shot on literally an A7S III? It was an FX3. Half the time you can't tell the difference between that and a cinema camera. And there's quite a few, you know, A24 films which have come out which use Sony in conjunction with a few other cameras, and you just can't tell the difference. So yeah, excited for the next step, but also skeptical, and yeah, feel like there's no real reason to be loyal to camera companies these days, except for the fact that I own all your lenses, Sony. So anyway, let me know what you think about everything I've chatted about today. I would love to know your opinion because, yeah, am I the only one that feels this way? What is your experience like? It'd be good to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.